I consider like my YouTube channel to be my house, and I consider my videos to be like different rooms in my house. The content that I consume on YouTube was generally recommended to me as like my neighborhood. And so when I see this video recommended to me, it would be like somebody just stepping in and gentrifying my neighborhood. Stop! You're raising my fucking mortgage payments. Get the hell out. The solar system theory stinks. It sucks. It does not work. Local random person Nathaniel Drew made a video about a language learning concept called the solar system theory, which is essentially the difference between specialization in a language and generalization. Basically, the most frequently used words in a language are only about 20% of that language's like full volume. I'm literally pulling the Pareto principle out of my ass for this one. And the only difference between the way that I phrase it and the way that he phrases it is that he kind of just visualizes it as a solar system. So in the center, there is a sun. That's where most of the mass of a solar system comes from. And analogously, much like the 80-20 rule, 20% or the minimum amount of a language's words make up a maximum amount of the language's usage. So he's arguing from an efficiency standpoint. You learn the most frequently used words, and then you branch out. You specialize your language based off of what you're studying, whether that be cooking or whether that be science, music, or chess. He doesn't give any practical information as to how to do this, and so his video is just devoid of any actual advice, and instead it's just a visualization of an already known rule, the Pareto principle, the 80-20 rule. 20% of something makes 80% of something else. You did nothing, you said nothing, and you just showed a bunch of expensive graphics, and then you learned how to drive a stick shift in French? This kind of subtly tells me that YouTube popularity has nothing to do with anything other than consistency. All you have to do is just do the same thing over and over again on a platform, and eventually you're gonna hit, like you're gonna strike gold eventually, like 5 or 6 or 7 years down the line. But if you just keep doing the same thing over and over and over and over again, one of those things is going to pop off, and then two, because your content is so regular and so consistent, you're going to have a whole back catalog of videos that people are going to consume. Are they going to enjoy them? Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. The reason why the solar system theory doesn't work is because language is not about how it's used. It's about how it's thought about. A language is not rooted in what it uses. It's literally about the concepts that it communicates. And concepts are thought about linearly. All concepts are equal. And so if you're missing a word in a sentence, you could theoretically change the entire meaning of the sentence. Everybody already knows about the really plain example. I never said she stole my money. If any of those words were missing, you would literally be missing the meaning of that sentence. I never said she stole my... Girl stole your what? And so instead, I tend to not prefer efficiency-based, like, cutting corners techniques when it comes to learning languages, or, I don't know, learning any skill that, like, I actually want to learn and that I want to use. Me, when learning is fun, and I don't want to cut corners or be efficient. I don't like this style of content in general. I consider like my YouTube channel to be my house, and I consider my videos to be like different rooms in my house, and I consider the content that I consume on YouTube, what's generally recommended to me, as like my neighborhood. And so when I see this video recommended to me, which it hasn't been, I actually actively sought it out, but I imagine if this video was recommended to me, it would be like somebody just stepping in and gentrifying my neighborhood. Stop! You're raising my fucking mortgage payments. Get the hell out. So I want to shift your focus on learning languages from one of efficiency and just practicality to one closer to what learning languages is actually about. It's about learning concepts, right? So instead, I want to offer language transfer. Basically, this one guy single-handedly has brute forced his way through teaching other people languages simply by carrying patterns of words or concepts or grammatical rules through from one language to a person's native language, which the whole thing is in English, so it's really just going to be in English. Language transfer takes vocabulary patterns and grammatical principles and concepts and literally just directly translates them. And then it teaches you those principles instead of vocabulary or phrases. It teaches you language patterns, and it teaches you morphology. It shows you the smallest bits of meaning, and then it shows you how you can play with them and move them around. In a way, it actually really just teaches you how language itself should be working. And then it takes those principles and it focuses on whatever language you're actually learning. I've read a little bit of the Thinking Method book, which, by the way, I read for free. Language transfer is free, and the Thinking Method book is free. all of this is free. And I love this in concept. And I used it for Spanish, and I paired it with Duolingo, which by the way is also free and completely mess free. Usualmente quiero estudiar español para mi novio, pero mi novio cheated. Sure, right. I run into the same problem as that sentence from before where I don't know what the meaning of the word cheated is. But girl, she kind of said that sentence. That sentence was kind of said. It was spoken. It was uttered. She was singing in Espanol. And that's just not something that happens when you're not passionate about learning something. I think that I really enjoy learning about stuff just because knowing things is really fun and learning things is really fun. And so to see the solar system theory stand as this like paragon of learning efficiency, like you want to learn less, like you don't want to go all in, you don't want like all of the language at once, you don't want it to come to you, you want to just like grab a little bit of it at a time. This isn't fun? This isn't like enjoyable? Are you not entertained by this? Like what? If you're not intrinsically motivated to the point of having passion in learning something that doesn't matter, then you're not going to have the motivation to learn the things that do matter. Like that's just like a thinking, like willpower sort of thing that you have to build on your own. You have to actually sit down and go and do this thing like every day. Really the only thing that secures your ability to learn a language is just consistency. Like just doing it every single day. Just doing it again and again and again and again and again. And then coming back in like a year or 3 years or 5 years time, and you go back and you're like, oh wow, I learned a thing. There was no shortcut. There was no efficient thing I could do. I just sat down and slowly but surely absorbed French or Spanish or chess or the piano, the guitar. Skills are a lot like ketchup bottles. You shake it and they pee a little. No, they're not like ketchup bottles because you shake it and then you get a little bit of ketchup and you smack its ass and you get a little more ketchup. But then right when you're not looking and when you're not thinking, on that final shake, you get so much ketchup, an obnoxious amount of ketchup. Okay, but this is too much ketchup. I need to clean my fucking plate. So what did we learn today? Matt Davella is gentrifying my neighborhood. Wait, Nathaniel Drew is gentrifying my neighborhood. And I'm Jennifer Coolidge, and I've got to piss real bad.